So I failed at building this hexagon arch. And this is going to be part one of a two-part series.
What?
It's falling. That's why I was asking if that was the...
Starting right at the beginning, I picked up 2x4s from my local big box store, and my first task was to start cutting them down to size. And this project really made me stretch my math muscles because my brain could not wrap itself around the concept of creating 60-degree angles. And along with that, I had to figure out just how long the six sides would need to be to achieve my desired height. For my happy dance, guys, I can tell you I did it. And I used this webpage to figure out just how to make this. I just had to input the height I wanted and it gave me the length of the sides I needed. I'll put a link down below. So here's a little drawing of my terrible hexagon here, and I'll put a link in the description down below to the video I watched that actually enlightened this for me. I think his name is Brian Mclogans, but I'll clean it up in the bottom of the description. But what we were doing here is we're building a regular polygon, which is a six-sided polygon, making it a hexagon. In order to figure out our angles to cut our miters, I had to figure out what the exterior angles are of the polygon. And you start by taking 360 degrees, which every regular polygon, the angles need to add up to 360. And you divide that by 6, which is our number of sides. That gives us 60. 60 becomes the degrees for our exterior angle. And to figure that out, you just extend it and you make that 60. But you can't cut a 60-degree angle for the miter, or else it's not going to be the equal side hexagon that you want. So you chop that in half, as I did here, and it's 30 degrees. I hope that helps you guys. If it doesn't, I'll point out his video. It's about 4 or 5 minutes long, and it did wonders for me. So let me know what you think. Let's get back to the video. So now is as good a time as any to start sanding through my progressions, and I started at 80 and worked my way all the way up to 220. Figured it'd be best to do this while everything was broken down. Next, I tackled the legs. And I decided to go at half lap joinery here, which I'm going to cut here on my table saw. Now the joint here could be a lot tighter, but I plan to secure it with some screws, so it'll work out in the end. The legs looked a little boxy, so I just drew what I liked and decided to cut them out with my jigsaw. I grabbed my biscuit joiner and I cut slots in each of the connecting joints, and this is all for alignment, not for stability. We're beginning to take shape here. I had an idea to use pocket holes on the joints that were permanent and bracing on the T-nuts and T-nuts with the others. So I reached a point where it's time for assembly, and I want to make sure that this thing is knocked down, but I don't want it to be every single piece. So what I did is I used pocket screws and I attached 2 members on 3 pieces. So there's 3 sets of pocket screws around. And what I'm going to do for the knockdown portion of it, I'm going to use these stainless steel L brackets with these 1/4-20 T-nuts. So these 1/4-20, can't speak right now. Well, these 1/4-20 T-bolts are going to get hammered in to the top side. They're right under this L bracket here. And then I'm going to put a washer and this nut right through it. That's going to make it so that we can take this apart and put it back together as many times as we need to without destroying the wood fibers and blowing out the hole. I think it's going to work out just fine. On my test piece here, it worked out, so I see no reason why it's not going to work out on the actual project. I also have biscuits in there, as I've shown you guys already, for alignment purposes. They're not really going to give it any strength, but at least it's going to be easy to align it every time we take it apart and put it back together. So I'm going to go through, drill the holes in these. I'm not going to put the T-nuts in just yet because I'm going to put some stain on it. Once it's finished, I'll go ahead and hammer these T-nuts in there, and then we'll be able to put it together. So let's get right back into it. I wanted the color to be as even as possible, so I applied wood conditioner before adding the stain and finally polyurethane.
I just need you to help me stand it up.
So I brought out my lovely wife Monique to help me stand it up, and as you can see here, we had a little bit of an issue.
What?
It's falling. That's why I was asking if the base was sturdy.
So these T-nuts are not going to work. They don't have enough strength or depth to hold it together, and I learned the hard way. Also, the only way for these to actually work properly is to put them in this way and screw from the bottom, and it pulls it closer. Otherwise, you're not going to get a good connection. So, I had to get rid of those. So what I did get, these 1/4-20 threaded inserts. These threaded inserts should do the trick, but to give me a little bit of added strength, I'm going to use some of this quick set epoxy, this JB weld, and put it around here and inside there and thread it in, and then hopefully we'll have what we need.
So that worked. Well, kind of. The corrections allowed it to stand upright unassisted, but the height and overall design just wasn't able to bear the weight of flowers. And although it came out looking really good, in part 2 I'll be rebuilding this out of 4x4s, and it'll be a simpler setup this time. You can click that like button, click that subscribe button so you're alerted to when I put out the next video. We make mistakes, but we always learn something from them. Until part 2, I'm Drew. Get out of your comfort zone and try something new.